fan-made content for this Premier League season.
Bringing that real fan experience. Want to see some crazy?
Wherever you are in the world,
bringing you the latest opinions
and fan reactions.
Back again.
Welcome to FanPark Live.
Brand new shows every week.
UFF are going hard this year, you know. So make sure you lock in.
Come on!
Real fan opinions brought to you by Wash and Go.
What's good, football fans? You're here, your boy Chris Kane on FanPark Live. Just finished watching the Arsenal-Everton game, so a lot to talk about in this game too. Arsenal run out. I'm not going to say comfortable 2-0 winners, but after the first goal went in, definitely seemed to have slowed Everton down a bit. And listen, same as before with the Chelsea-West Ham game, I want plenty of conversation with you guys. This show is going to be particularly engaging because it's only your boy here. I don't like to hear the sound of my own voice, even if that may come across that way more often than not. I really want to get into what my thoughts are on the game, my thoughts on Arsenal, Everton, and obviously your thoughts more importantly. So the way I want to start it, like my format when I'm doing a show by myself, is I'm going to pose a few questions at the beginning of the show. And what I want you guys to do is think about them. So think about those questions, which I'm about to give. Then call us on 0203 606 0315. So outside of the performance from both teams today, these are some of the questions I kind of started thinking about, not during just this match, but obviously before, but obviously questions that I feel are relevant. So what I'm going to ask. First thing is I'll build up from the back. That's a lot of conversations have been happening since the start of the season in terms of how good are we at the moment? How good can we be? Is it something that works against the detriment of our players and our team? Definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. Also, what our formation should be, because there's been a lot of tinkering in midfield and a little bit of tinkering in the forward line. And sometimes I don't know if I'm seeing a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3, or even a 4-4-2 diamond. I mean, that's a conversation that we've seen started occurring when Lacazette started playing alongside Aubameyang more, even though early signs of the season suggested that he was only going to go with one of the two. To take it away from Arsenal a little bit, Javern, our studio engineer, asked me how good of a coach do I think Mauro Silva is, and obviously he impressed a lot of us football fans during last season at his stint with Watford, and he's gone on to Everton, where it's a team with a bit more of a standing than Watford, potentially a bit more money at his disposal, where there's more player investment. And Everton have not had a great start to the season either. They've been leaking plenty of goals, just as Arsenal have done so too. So how do we gauge how good of a coach he is? Three more questions or three more points that I thought would be worth discussing. Who your man of the match was. I think personally Peter Cech was our man of the match. I think without his contribution, Arsenal would have found themselves in big trouble from literally the first minute. And it makes you question, okay, why the signing of Leno as a goalkeeper? He made his debut for Arsenal during our Europa League fixture Thursday just gone. And outside of his seniority, is Cech just simply a better goalkeeper than him? Or is it a case of just trying to steadily blood Leno in? Two more questions I had on that is your thoughts on Torreira's starting debut. I think with his substitute appearances, he's impressed immensely, and today finally gets his Premier League debut as a starter. What did you think of his performance today? And finally, Wagwan for our defence. For those who are not particularly familiar with that kind of colloquialism, what do you think of our defence, and how do you think it's going to pan out for the rest of the season? Do you think that starting back line of Bellerin, Socrates, Mustafi and Monreal, I guess with Cech you can involve him in that too, do you think that's going to be something or that's going to be the combination that will get us to the Champions League spot? Have we got the calls ready? Plenty of calls, I hope. Let's get it cracking, man. Hopefully it'll be a good one. You're talking to your boy Chris Kane. Who am I speaking to, and what are your thoughts on the game?
It's John, big man again.
There we go, John. Talk to me.
Yeah. Yo, dude. For the first half, I thought Arsenal weren't that unique or special, because they weren't using their width enough, because the fullbacks weren't doing enough. But in the second half, they turned it up, man. That's the difference between Arsenal and Chelsea. They have certified goal scorers, and once you put the ball in danger areas, even a sniff of goal, they can make something happen. I still think that they need to buy quality wingers though, because the offensive presence out wide wasn't that good, and I don't think putting Aubameyang there is the way forward, because he's got the instincts of a striker. He's always trying to drive forward. So he's got like, I don't want to say it's like one track movement, but it's still the same similar movement. Whereas a winger would, have kind of a range of movement, cut back, cut inside, or drive outside. That sort of thing. That's what I want to say.
All right, man. Listen, man. Thank you. Yeah. Like, I definitely agree with you, man. I feel like I would have really liked, even though it's a complete pipe dream, it sounds even more so of a pipe dream now. But when there were rumours of Dembele wanting to leave Barcelona to get some more first-team football, I thought we should have gone absolutely all out for him. But not just him. I think there are plenty of good wingers out on the market right now. Obviously, you named some of them earlier on with the show for the West Ham Chelsea game. David Neres is one example. Leon Bailey as a goal-scoring winner is another example. Even outside of who you could possibly buy, I was really gutted that we sold Reece Nelson, because I think
Reece Nelson, yeah, man. I was thinking literally the same thing.
Yeah.
Man, you there?
Yeah. I'm still here.
Yeah, like Reece Nelson again. Reece Nelson has been a great shout. Coming late in games to kind of stretch the defense. They're not stretching defense is enough, man, and they get acres of space out wide. That's why like Bellerin and Monreal are running a lot into the wide spaces when they could have someone shooting from out wide. If you notice that Aubameyang's first goal was kind of like them R1 plus circle finesse goals.
Yeah.
Slightly wide position.
Yeah.
You've got to expect, in this league, at this elite level, you've got to exploit every acre of space you have offensively. But, they came out with a win, which is, what matters in the end. 3 points, certainly.
Yeah. I think especially with the start that we had, it wasn't going to be easy for us anyway, with City at home and Chelsea away. I only saw us getting like maximum 1 point out of the two anyway. But then I looked at the next 8 fixtures, and in my opinion, we should be aiming for maximum points. Whether we do so is another matter. But yeah, it's a good start. I think once we get that first run of games, those first 10 games, then it's like, okay, now we have to improve performance, because Everton could have been a goal ahead after a minute and a half.
Yeah, man.
So
that's your chance.
Yeah.
He could have scored.
Anyway, listen.
But
yeah.
also, I'm not gonna lie. Defensively, they've also, I think, gone up a little notch, because last season, they've just been making like stupid errors in front of the box, leaving them vulnerable to quick counter. But I feel like Torreira and Socrates, they're much more mature compared to Arsenal's previous.
I mean, I don't know about Socrates. I think Torreira in midfield is an excellent shout, not only because he can win the ball like Coquelin used to do for Arsenal, but also because he can play. Yeah, he can actually play. So it's not just defensive actions in terms of recovery, but it's also defending with the ball. I think that's a concept that we need to kind of accept a lot more of the time. It's like, listen, at the end of the day, teams can only score with the ball. So if you have a team, and more importantly, if you have players that are able to manage the game in possession and obviously be able to distribute well, then that's also a defensive route as well, especially when you're maybe just a goal up or under a lot of pressure. Listen, John, thank you very much for your call, engaging as always, and obviously I hope to speak to you soon.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
No worries. Yeah, definitely. I think he made some really good points. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily agree with Socrates. I think with Socrates, him and Mustafi are too alike for me. I don't think either of them are bad defenders, but I think there's not enough balance there, because you've got two defenders that like to attack the ball, they like to press. And on so many occasions, this is from the Man City game to the Chelsea game, like every game I've seen Arsenal play this season, it's a case of, because we're pressing when we shouldn't be pressing, we've got two centre-backs of a similar style, then you give attackers an opportunity to get in behind you. And if it wasn't for Czech today, like I said, we could have gone a goal down. So I'm not unsure about that one, but listen, thanks for that call anyway. Javern, let's keep it moving, man. You're speaking to your boy Chris Kent on FanPark Live. Talk to me. What's your name and who you calling? Well, who do you support?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, it's Rio talking.
Nice to speak to you, Rio. What are your thoughts on the game?
It was a decent game. I enjoyed it. Still though, man, the first 10 minutes it was a bit shaky. I'm still worried about what's going on.
A bit. I would go a little bit more than a bit.
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit shaky. I don't understand what goes wrong. For the second half of the game, we always do very well, and in the first half, it's poor. I just don't understand.
I mean, sometimes in a game of football, you need to be able to kind of settle in. Some teams, they start off slower. I mean, I'd like Arsenal to be on point from the first whistle. But we're still gelling. There's a lot of players that were there last year, but I think Emery has obviously come in and asked us to play slightly differently, more so out of more so out of possession. I think in possession we're still pretty similar. Maybe we play with a little bit more intensity and a little bit more pace on the ball, but I think defensively we're still not necessarily as cohesive as I'd imagine Emery would like us to be. So I wouldn't, if I was in your position, I wouldn't expect Arsenal to necessarily start off games particularly solid.
That's what it is. If we can get the defence as solid, then I don't see why in the next few seasons we can't go back to challenging for titles. I'm not asking for anything this season. We're still gelling, but if we can sort out that defence, hopefully by the next couple of seasons we'll be back up there, man.
Well, that's an interesting point about like what your expectations are for Arsenal this season and obviously going forward. When we sign Emery, and obviously having looked at who we signed during the transfer window, I'm assuming you're an Arsenal fan, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
All right, cool. What were your expectations? Like, what did you feel was realistic for what Arsenal could achieve this season?
Do you know what? Him buying Torreira, I feel like he addressed a lot of my problems. I went to all the home games last season, Europa, Premier League, and Carabao Cup, and I realised that central defensive midfield position is something that we struggled with. Because as soon as the ball gets played behind the midfield, Mustafi and whoever was usually in the defence, whether it was Koscielny, Holding, it would just look shaky. It was just worrying.
Yeah.
With Torreira just sitting in front of them, I even see Torreira today's game dropping back into defence like a back three kind of when the two wing backs push forward, and it's just good to see. I feel better with Torreira in there.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Definitely a good thing. And Scotland, his name is Scotland in the defence. Although he's not the best defender in the world, we definitely needed to address those two positions. So,
all right, man. Listen, Real, thank you very much for your call. I'll definitely try to elaborate on some of those points and give you some of my points once you come off the air, come off the call, man. Thank you. Listen, take it easy, man. Have a good Sunday, my bro. Yeah, I mean, the Torreira signing was needed because I felt like Coquelin was an elite ball winner. Like he was an elite ball-winning central midfielder, but he didn't give you any faith when he was on the ball, and you always felt like you were playing with a man less in possession when Arsenal had the ball. Not to say that he was terrible. I think he was actually pretty decent in terms of maybe his ball carrying and whatnot, but in terms of him picking up positions to receive the ball, play it forward, manage the game, he needed Cazorla a lot in that sense, and I think that was a good thing that we addressed. I'm still not happy with our options at centre half. Even though I consider Koscielny a top class centre back, you don't know what kind of form he's going to come back into once he fully recovers from his current injury. And even if he does fully recover, I still think we need another centre back that has, even if he's not top class now, he will be top class in the future. Because I think, especially in the centre back position, you need a mixture of good young players that can come in and do a job. You need players that are in their peak, and you need that old head. You need that veteran. I think Koscielny isn't that player in his peak anymore, especially with the kind of injuries that he's been playing with, not just suffering on the sidelines with. He's actually been playing with injuries a lot of the time, and we need to start looking at centre-back options that will, again, give us a bit more confidence. Liverpool signed Virgil van Dijk. I look at that and I'm like, well, obviously it cost them a lot of money, and I will never imagine us signing a centre-back for 75 mil under Wenger's tenure. But I feel like under new management, if we're an ambitious club, we need to start looking at top-class players like Van Dijk and like other centre-backs in world football, Marquinhos. Not to say that those guys are realistic to sign, but we need to start thinking about, okay, we need to blow the bag. Like that's going to cost us the bag. Yeah, Socrates for me is not it. And that's all I'll say on that. Next call, my guy. Hey, how you doing? You speak to Chris Kane on FanPark Live. Who am I speaking to?
How's it going, Chris? It's Anthony.
Anthony, nice to speak to you, man. What are your thoughts on the game?
Oh yeah, I'm over the moon. I thought, you know, the first half was a struggle. Biggest issue, I think, Ramsey playing attacking midfield.
All right, listen, free smoke. You're gonna be. I'm gonna give you some time to speak on Ramsey. Let's go.
Okay, you know. So you want to know about the goals, yeah?
No. I'm saying like you're gonna speak about Ramsey, yeah? Because I got a lot to say, but I want to hear what you have to say first. Let's talk about Ramsey.
Okay, yeah. So I think first half Ramsey struggled really in the first half, and what that did was it didn't really allow us to connect the midfield from defence. So basically, the ball kept going backwards. Bellerin kept playing it backwards. Same with Sakura and Torreira. Everyone kept playing it backwards. Lacazette, I mean, he made some amazing passes in the first half. I think he might even be a most technically gifted player. Those 2 passes he made in the first half, that just reminds me of like Francesco Totti in his prime. It was amazing. And then obviously the goal, my goodness. That first goal, that was an absolutely clinical goal, and he just showed you how much composure he's got. Personally, Chris, I think he's our best player, man. He's special. You just got to make sure you bring him into the game because he done so much today and just showed you that he's physically ready to dominate in the league now.
I mean, yeah, like with Lacazette, with Ramsey, there's so. Do you know what? My thing is like a lot of the players that we have now. Some of the players obviously stepped up. I felt like under Wenger, and not just last season, because last season was an exceptionally bad season. I felt like I would rather see them under a new manager, just to see, just so I can feel like, okay, it's not the manager's fault that this player is playing as poorly as he has been. I think with Lacazette in particular, listen, people may say it's only the French league, so on and so on. I wouldn't necessarily call him a top-class striker, but he's a very good one. And I feel like, bearing in mind he was recovering from an injury last year as well, and surgery I think too, he did his thing. I definitely agree with you in terms of Ramsey. We know Ramsey as a central midfielder, but it feels like for the last 4 years he's been playing almost like a shadow striker. In a group chat with all my guys, I was saying to the man that was just like, right, like, because we're like at this moment, like we're all done with him, like we're all done with Ramsey, and I was saying to him like, he feels like a Tim Cahill that doesn't score headers, because
I agree with you.
Like he's more concerned with being closer to the striker than he is with actually fulfilling his midfield roles. Now, don't get me wrong, box-to-box midfielders are supposed to be a presence in and around goal when the moment is right. If you look at the best box-to-box midfielders in recent history, I think Arturo Vidal is probably the best example of that.
Okay.
He always used to get in amongst the goals, but he was still doing everything else in midfield. You didn't feel like he was like just leaving his other midfielders up to dry. So I feel like we need to figure out that issue.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah. I genuinely.
You know who's a good. Sorry, not to interrupt.
No, go on.
Do you know who's a good example of that? He played in the Premier League as well. Ballack was someone who used to get into the box. But he used to do his role, especially when he was in Bayern Munich. He used to defend. He used to like connect play. I think what with Ramsey, the problem with him, he doesn't really have a very sharp football brain. When it comes to movement and bursting into the box and instinctive shooting, he's very good. I wouldn't be surprised if he played striker when he was younger. But when it comes to actually reading the game as a central midfielder, he's a bit slow. And I think that's where he struggles. And that's why I don't think Emery puts him in centre midfield.
But you know what? Like, what's crazy about that to me is that when he first arrived at Arsenal, we thought he was the guy. Like, people used to think he was on the same level as Jack Wilshere. This is not like Jack Wilshere post-injury when everyone was just like, he's dead. I'm talking like when both of them broke through and everyone thought these guys are going to be world-class central midfielders. People talked about Ramsey as being a world-class midfielder, and it's just like, well, I don't understand how a central midfield player can show the lack of football IQ that he's consistently demonstrated over the last season, man. But listen, thank you very much for your call, man. Very engaging.
Thanks a lot.
No problem, man. Take it easy. Yeah, Aaron Ramsey. Do you know what? Sorry, this whole thing. Can we get some new earphones one day? These earphones are mad budget, bro. I can't even lie to you. I actually think we need to start going into games starting Guendouzi and Torreira. I'm sure that's not the first time like Arsenal fans have mentioned that, but I feel like we're closer to seeing enough to see, okay, Torreira is definitely it. Guendouzi has surprised everyone. I want to see them two start a game, and I want to judge, because I think you've got a midfield playmaker who can also defend in Torreira, and then you've also got a midfield playmaker in Guendouzi who can give you a bit of that box-to-box energy, not necessarily in and around the penalty area, but definitely in the sense of carrying the ball, aggressive passes going forward, penetrative passes going forward. And yeah, both very technically gifted central midfielders. Next call. You speak to Chris Kane of FanPark Live. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, I'm Junior, support Arsenal.
Junior, nice to speak to you, man. What are your thoughts on the game, man, bro?
Basically, what I'm trying to say is definitely Torreira. With whichever defensive partnership you want to go in the midfield, Torreira has to start.
Yeah, I don't think you'd find a single Arsenal fan that would disagree with you, man.
Basically, yeah, nah, but that's how I feel about it, because when you actually look at Xhaka anyway, if Xhaka's gonna play and and you want to see good performances out of him, Torreira has to be there. If he's not there and you've got Guendouzi there, then it's never going to work. But Guendouzi is really good as well. He's probably playing the position better than Xhaka does. But going forward, Xhaka is good as well. So it's just, for me, either way, if you want to be solid, like this is the first time where we've not conceded a goal, and it's because Torreira started. So that's how I see that anyway.
All right. Well, I think my thoughts are on like a Xhaka and Torreira combination is, obviously we've not been able to see them start as a duo because obviously Torreira's only started for the first time today. Yeah, I think a lot of Arsenal fans were waiting to see if that could work, because before obviously it was Xhaka and Guendouzi, and people thought, okay, well, Guendouzi looks good, but as a combination they don't look good. So maybe because Torreira can get, you know, around the pitch, because obviously he's tenacious in a tackle, and we don't rely on him to be our actual holding midfielder, maybe that could work, because obviously Xhaka's got experience, he's got a good left foot, he can pass well, he's got a bit more experience in the league. I don't think it's one game, so I don't want to judge them two as a combination just yet, but I don't feel like Torreira compensated for Xhaka's some of Xhaka's flaws in his game today. Yeah, go on, Junior.
As well, when I look on the pitch, like when you look at the two centre backs, so you look at Socrates and you're looking at
Mustafi,
yeah. When I saw quite a lot of the time when say Xhaka's playing his stuff in the midfield, spraying the ball about, but Torreira will always drop back in and make it a free, which allowed Monreal and Bellerin to do their thing as well. So that's what I mean about, like, Guendouzi is the type of player that goes out and tackles, and he goes out and makes them interceptions. Now Xhaka, when I've watched him over the last few games, like pretty much most of the season, he'll lose the ball and then he'll just jog around in front of the defence and not go in and make a tackle. So it's ineffective anyway. The other team will take a shot on, might test check or anything like that. But I feel what's I saying? I feel Torreira comes back for that defensive support, and then it will allow Guendouzi to go out and make that tackle. Now today we saw, I feel like when I watch a player like Kante, he'll go to bringing up Kante anyway, he'll go towards the ball, but then he's doing two man's jobs, two people's jobs basically. And I feel like today with Xhaka, he was allowed to play more attacking, but then Torreira was doing two jobs. So if it's Guendouzi and Torreira, I feel like then Torreira can just sit back and allow Guendouzi to go and make them tackles, and then obviously the second line of defending in the midfield, Torreira will come and make the tackle if Guendouzi is unsuccessful. But when it's Xhaka and Guendouzi goes out to make the challenge, it might be successful, it might not be, and then Xhaka's not in there. Definitely. Then that's the problem. So I feel, even still, either way, I feel like you can play Xhaka and Torreira, because Torreira can do two man's jobs at the same time. Kind of like how Kante's just everywhere, and he fulfills the same thing with Torreira. He sometimes gives the ball away, but most of the time it's clean. And that's what I mean. Like, you can play either Torreira or Xhaka. I think it works either way. But I mean, not Torreira, Xhaka, Guendouzi or Xhaka. It works either way. But Torreira has to start.
Okay. There's a lot of detail in that. But that's what I love. That's what I want to keep on hearing, man. Junior, thank you very much for your call, bro.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Yeah, I mean, a quick one on that before we get the next call in. So just give me 2 seconds. I think, yeah, there's validity to the point in the sense of Torreira is also a ball-winning midfield, but it can also like play make, and then that allows Xhaka to stay on the pitch. Personally speaking, I don't think that's the optimal way to have your two central midfielders. I think you want your midfielders to have one primary role and then focus on that. When you get into the space of, you've got a player, I don't care how talented he is, even Kante, I wouldn't want him to be doing everything, because and then players around him start thinking, okay, well, he's got it. It's like, no, like, you know what you're supposed to do, you know what your job is. And generally speaking, I think the balance with Torreira and Guendouzi, even though obviously Guendouzi's very young, Torreira's still also young as well, I still think that probably works best so far. Next call in. You're speaking to Chris Kane on FanPark Live. What's your name and give me your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, my name is Shamaki, and
nice to speak to you, Shamaki.
Arsenal Everton game, right?
Yeah.
I just want to say a few things that, you know, people begin on, you know, Petr Cech's back. You know, Petr Cech, this season, if you look at his goalkeeping ability, in my opinion, has been one of the best in the Premier League. And, you know, people again on in terms of passing out the back, you know, this is a new system. He hasn't played it in his whole career, and expecting a 35, 36-year-old to learn how to play a game where you need technical ability. So that's just my opinion on Petr Cech.
Is that just the only thing you wanted to focus on? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't think any Arsenal fan should be getting to Peter Cech today because, quite frankly, he was by far our man of the match.
Yeah, he bailed him at the back.
Like literally, like without his saves, we're losing, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Pardon me, sorry. In terms of like just the goalkeeping situation, I mean, how would you have gone about it? Because obviously Peter Cech is there, seasoned pro, been in the Premier League for over 10 years, leader in the Arsenal dressing room. But you've also spent money, like big money, for a goalkeeper on Leno. Now,
I would have.
Like, I mean, how would you have handled it? I mean, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know how Leno and Cech are looking comparatively in training. But I would imagine that wasn't how Arsenal's, coaching staff and recruitment staff was thinking. It's like, yeah, we're going to spend X amount on Leno and then bench him for the main game. So give me your thoughts on that goalkeeping situation and how would you resolve it if you're a coach or, whatever.
First of all, I wouldn't say big money because they kept him for 70 million, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And Leno, he's played a lot of games. He came into the Bundesliga by Leverkusen at the age of 17, I believe.
Yeah.
So, it's not like he's a rookie. And, rotation is good for goalkeeper situation. So that's just what I want to say.
All right, man. No worries, man. Listen, thank you very much for your call. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, man. All right, take it easy. Let's keep the calls moving, man. Interesting one. I mean, Cech playing up the back. Oh, it's a bit mad right now. You speak to Chris Kane on FanPark Live. What's your name? And give me your thoughts on the game.
I'm Chris.
All right,
yeah, I'm pretty solid. Well, I'm not ecstatic about the game, but we've got 3 points, and if we put things into perspective, our expectations shouldn't be too high. We're
agreed.
Obviously looking to improve, and we've got a new manager. So I gave myself expectations that if we were to get 5th, but games that we were losing last year, like away games like Newcastle, if we put in decent performances there and get points, then I'd be happy. And right now we're actually 6th. We've played 2 of the best teams in the league, Chelsea and City, and despite performances not being as good as we want, we're still in a good position. And if Emery can get his best 11, which I don't think he's been doing, if he can get his best 11 later on in the season, then I think we can be happy. We can have a decent season. But Ramsey and Ozil, I don't think can be playing in the same team. I think that's a problem that he needs to figure out.
Yeah, I think that's something that's become very, very evident. Like so far this season, it's I don't see that blend, and I don't think we've ever really seen that blend of them under Wenger and Emery, where I look at the Arsenal team and I feel like it works when they're both playing. I think maybe the only time where it looked somewhat like that is, do you remember that period? What season was it? I think it was the 14-15 season. That's when we won the FA Cup against Villa, and then it was Ramsey came back into the side and he was playing right wing. I think it was Ozil number 10, Ramsey right wing. Then we had Coquelin and Santi in centre mid, and that's the only time I've ever felt like, okay, that works. But again, you're playing Ramsey out of position, so we can't have one play centre mid and attacking midfield unless you want to play a 4-4-2 diamond and see it work. So I mean, like, what would you do with Ramsey? Because I think you're holding the club at ransom, but you're not playing well at all.
Honestly, he used to be one of the players that I see a future of him, but I feel he's been at the club for such a long time that we just like we did with Wilshere, we just need to cut our ties with him and just say bye to him. Like, I would love for it to work out, but I just don't see it working out. So because we've had a fresh start, Wenger's gone, players like Walcott have gone, Giroud have gone, Wilshere's gone, even Cazorla, Mertesacker. I think Ramsey's another player that we just have to say goodbye to, whether or not he's been at the club for a long time. We just have to say bye, because we need a winger, we need centre backs, we need to invest our money. You want like 200k? I don't think.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts.
And I think we need to invest the money from him into players that we need.
Yeah, because the thing about Ramsey, he's asking for 200k. I can't remember the last time he looked like a 200k per week player. So listen, man, Chris, thank you very much for your call, and I hope I speak to you soon, man. Next call. Let's ring them off. I keep on to talk to all of you. I want to talk to every single one of you before I leave today. You speak to Chris Kane on FanPark Live. Give me your thoughts on your game. Oh, give me your name first, and then give me your thoughts on the game. Hello. Oh, I think he's trying to call his side chick or something. You definitely weren't trying to call us. You want more calls? Yeah, we ring through the calls right now. Hello, you speak to Chris Kane of FanPark Live. Who am I speaking to? And give me your thoughts on the game.
My name's Dylan.
What's your name? Say that one more time.
Dylan.
Dylan, nice to speak to you, man. Give me your thoughts on the game, bro.
I actually think Bellerin played really well.
Okay. Okay, no one's mentioned Bellerin yet. All right.
Yeah, I think that defensively he's done all right.
Okay.
I think that he covered his lines pretty well. I think he went in on Richarlison all right, actually. But also I think that maybe Ramsey and Ozil together maybe isn't the best combination.
Yeah, yeah. Why do you think that, though? I don't want it to be just because you heard me say that to the last caller. Like, why do you think that they don't work?
Well, because I don't think that we have like a strong enough wing, really.
Yeah.
I think Ramsey doesn't really provide what we need. I think that Iwobi, when he came on, and also the last game as well, played really well. And I think that I expected him to start, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think that he gives a bit more width, and I think that if Aubameyang played a little bit closer to Lacazette, maybe we might have been able to capitalize on some things. Not to get Ramsey wrong. Like, I think that he made some good runs, which is nice. But I don't think those two should start together, either one or the other, personally.
Yeah, no. I'm definitely in agreement with you. Going back to the conversation that we had about them two, I think I made my point about them, but definitely in a sense of fitting in other players that could give us more, i.e. a good wide player. I think what Arsenal are missing today, and have been missing for the majority of the games that we've played this season so far, is a player that I feel like when he gets on the ball and he's facing a defender, will take him on and he'll be productive on the other end. I mean, Mkhitaryan plays wide, has decent end product. He's actually scored, obviously, a few goals so far and looks threatening. But you don't see him pick up the ball, and then you don't have faith that he's going to beat the left back or the right back or whatever defenders on him, and then create space that way. Because I think when you have players that do that, it's not just about them beating their player. It's also about attracting other players that create space for your teammates. If you look at Hazard, for example, I mean, West Ham dealt with him brilliantly today, but when he picks up the ball, all of a sudden you're seeing two players swarm around him. Yeah, so when two players swarm around a player, because they know that on the 1v1 he's particularly dangerous, then you create space elsewhere. And I feel like that's not something that we've seen from Arsenal, not just this season, but for a while as well. So very good points. Thank you very much for your call, Dylan, man. Speak to you soon.
All right, cheers.
Yeah. Are you just ringing off the calls, man? Keep it coming. Damn. You speak to Chris Kane of FanPark Live. What's your name and give me your thoughts on the game?
Jim,
speak to me, my bro.
Yeah, I think, you know how don't work together in the same team?
Yeah.
I disagree with you there. I think the only way you can get them to both work in the same team is if you're playing Ramsey with Torreira in a double pivot and then Ozil as the 10. That's how you can get, because some of our better performances last season, like the 5-0 against Everton, or 5-1 should I say, came when Ramsey was making them late runs into the box. I don't like him that high up. I want him a bit deeper, and then making late runs into the box, and then with Torreira just sitting in front of the back four.
Okay. All right. So, okay. When I say that they don't work together, I don't. It's not that there's nothing you can do that makes them work. I think under Emery, and the way Emery wants to play, it's unlikely they'll be able to work together. I think in order for them for us to have a cohesive midfield and you have Ozil and Ramsey in there, it's one of two things. The first one, which is one I think I've already mentioned, is quite simply play a 4-4-2 diamond. And I think in certain phases of the game, Arsenal look like that, where you have Ozil come in more narrow, obviously Torreira and Jack are already in there, and you also have Ramsey in that kind of more advanced midfield area. If you have like a straight up 4-4-2 diamond, where you have Torreira as the number 4, you have Ozil at the 10, and then you could have a combination of Ramsey as an 8 and then Guendouzi as an 8, or Ramsey as an 8 and Xhaka as an 8. That can work. I think the other way that can work is it would require you to change Ozil's role in the team. So you can have a 3-man midfield And quite similar to the way City have David Silva and Bernardo Silva, who are, and even Kevin De Bruyne, who are natural number 10s. You have them play as a deeper number 10. So they're playing alongside the rest of the midfield. I think Ozil has kind of done that on a few occasions for Germany. So you'd ask him to do that.
Yeah,
you'd have Ramsey. Yeah, you'd ask Ramsey to play next to him, and then you have Torreira behind. I think that would work pretty well, to be fair, because now you have a good blend of qualities. The only reason I wouldn't say that's realistic is because I just don't see... I mean, I'd love to see Emery use that kind of system with Arsenal. I just don't think it's something that's going to happen.
Another thing I would like to say is people have been criticising Xhaka, saying they should play Torreira and Guendouzi. And I think I know why Emery plays Xhaka, because Xhaka, for as much as we say he passes sideways and backwards, I saw this stat where last season he passed the third most into the final third positions. I think that's why Emery's always playing him, because for as bad as he is defensively, he's good at getting the ball into the final third. And that's the reason why Xhaka and Torreira are starting, not Guendouzi and Torreira. Okay,
all right, fair enough. I mean, do you know what? I remember I used to have arguments with a Chelsea fan about Cahill, because he was like, for the life of me, he doesn't know why Cahill starts. And these times, Cahill is in the same Chelsea team as winning titles, and it's different managers are selecting him. So my thing was, well, obviously he must not be as bad as you're making it out. He is, because he's starting under different managers and he's starting in teams that win in titles, including the Champions League title, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to kind of sympathise with him a little bit more, because I feel, as an Arsenal fan, I just don't understand why I feel like we have better midfield options and Xhaka still starts. Now, to your point, I think there may be some validity to that, because there's obviously something about his contribution to this Arsenal team that is obviously being overlooked and may explain his continued presence in the team. Because for me, Torreira is clearly the superior player. I think in terms of a midfielder that carries the ball and plays the ball forward, I think Guendouzi is arguably as good, or has... That's a strong thing to say, because Guendouzi's only played like 4 or 5 games, but he's shown a lot. And I think he's definitely impressed way more than Xhaka has done so far. But there may be something that we see in terms of statistics, in terms of maybe his presence off the pitch and his, I guess, his presence in the dressing room. Maybe there's that aspect too. Who knows? But
no, but for as good as Guendouzi is, if you look at the stats with Guendouzi and Torreira playing together, when Xhaka gets subbed off and everything, we can't see actually more goals with Guendouzi. Sorry, not Guendouzi and Xhaka, I meant. Not Guendouzi and Torreira, I meant. Guendouzi and Xhaka, we can't see more goals and score less with them two playing. However, when we play Xhaka and Torreira, we score more and concede less. And I think that's what Emery's been looking at, because Guendouzi is good and everything, but there's a few sloppy mistakes in him, and they're quite dangerous. Like, I remember the game against City where we lost 2-0 and he passed it to Aguero, and Aguero nearly scored, and Czech made a good save.
All right,
Another thing about Bellerin.
Quick one.
I'm still not convinced of Bellerin, man. I don't know. He gets beat too easily. I don't know.
Hey, man, listen. I think Bellerin is a fairly good right back at this point. He's still pretty young, but I guess the question you have to ask yourself as an Arsenal fan. So I'm going to end the call here, but thank you for starting this conversation. I think with Bellerin, I mean, he made his debut, I think 4 years ago now. Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. No, 4 years ago. Or became a starter 4 years ago anyway. I guess the question is just like, has he really kicked on since he made his debut? I think he has, but is he the player that you'd want him to be at this stage of his career? I think the debate is still there, but he's still young, man. Like, there's a lot of top-class fullbacks that weren't who they were at Bellerin's age. So we just have to give him an opportunity to prove us wrong. Listen, guys, thank you very much for your calls. So many calls, so many great points being made, points that I'll take home and really think about, and hopefully the next time I'm on live with you guys, we get to elaborate on and expand on as Arsenal continue finding their feet during the season. My name's Chris Kane. It's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the week, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Real fan opinions brought to you by Wash and Go.